This is winning federal government contracts, and just have a little agenda that we're going to follow here today. I'm going to tell a little bit about myself, who we are, and other SBA, Small Business Administration resource partners are. Want to look at how to evaluate your small business to see if it has what it takes to win a government contract. How you could identify bids and respond, how to identify the competition, and how the SBA certifications help reduce your competition. And then at the end, we'll take some questions. Okay, about me. I've been working with various government contractors since 1990. I teach government contracting, pricing, finance, and management courses at a local university. And prior to working with government contractors, I worked in a commercial bank, making loans, mortgage loans, business loans, personal loans. Now, who we are, we're a resource partner for the Small Business Administration. We have 21 centers across the state, and we offer individual confidential consulting at no cost to our clients. Now, all our consultants are highly trained, and we assist both existing companies and startup companies. And we do this in the areas of business plans, helping you develop those, look at fiscal and operations management, financing options. We look at marketing strategy. We have human resources and a lot more. Now, the centers, we conduct education workshops and provide referrals to useful business resources. And also, to provide webinars like we're doing today. And our specialized services include exporting, technology commercialization, veteran business assistant, minority outreach, and government contracting. Now, I'm one of three in the state of South Carolina for the Small Business Development Center there with government contracting. In the Midlands around Columbia, that's Scott Bellows. In the upper state in Greenville area, that's Sherry Pittenger. And myself, Scott Poole, I'm here at the Low Country in the Charleston area. So the SBA has a lot of resource partners, one of which is SCORE, Business Mentors, and they're a nonprofit association of thousands of volunteer business counselors around the country. They educate small business owners. Now, SCORE provides free in-person and online counseling, as well as educational workshops. We also have a VBOT, the Veterans Business Outreach Centers, and they offer resources to veterans, service members, military spouses who are interested in starting or growing a small business. Programs like Boost Business while they're still in the service. And recently there was a Veterans Business Outreach Center just started up in the Citadel in Charleston here a few months back. Also, we have the Women's Business Center, and they provide free to low-cost counseling and have training and focus on women who want to start, grow, and expand their small business. And one aspect here was the Apex Accelerators. They're formerly known as PTEC, Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. And they can help you determine if your business is ready for government contracting, register in the proper databases, find and bid on contracts, and more. And today, to say a few words about the South Carolina Apex Accelerators, we have Tanel Felder. She's the Marketing and Communications Manager. And without further ado, Tanel, do you want to take it away?
Sure, thank you. Thank you so much for having us, Scott. And I will just briefly explain the services that we offer here at Apex. I see we already have some of our clients who are in attendance to this meeting as well. So great to see all of you all. But just to briefly explain what South Carolina Apex Accelerator is, we assist South Carolina businesses with competing in the government marketplace. So we help large and small South Carolina businesses with government contracting, and we provide individualized assistance to clients, helping them to navigate the federal, state, and local government marketplace. So this includes assistance such as reviewing solicitations, reviewing bids before you submit them. We will kind of help you do a go or no-go analysis if you would like that, to see whether or not something is right for you to go ahead and bid on. We also assist with the certification process, so those state certifications, federal certifications as well. And we also help to, we have a service called Bid Match, and that way we help our clients to receive notifications when there are solicitations that are relevant to their business. So that'll just be emailed to them. That's something else that we set up. And we work with our clients one-on-one through counselors. And so you could either come in, come in for a meeting in person or over email. So, or not, sorry, not over email. Well, you can do over email, but I meant to also say you could also do virtual meetings as well. And that's it. I'll go ahead and put in the chat the link for us. If you're interested in learning more and signing up, we do ask on the sign up page, there's a government contracting readiness checklist. And we ask that before you sign up to become a client, that you go through that checklist to ensure that your business is ready for government contracting. And if you feel that you meet the requirements on that checklist and are a good place to start, then we invite you to go ahead and apply to become a client. But yeah, that is all I have. And again, thank you for having us, and I will put that information in the chat.
Well, thank you very much, Janelle. Really appreciate you being here and saying a few words. And we're all out here to help. Okay, so we're going here and we'll say the federal government spends money on a variety of goods, programs, services to support the American public and pay interest incurred from borrowing. Now, I've pulled this one. This one's from fiscaldata.treasury.gov. Said, how much has the U.S. government spent this year? And it's about $6.14 trillion. And this is about 23% of our gross domestic product. You see this little chart just shows you the little climbs we've been having from spending to GDP over the last several years. Now, when we look at these, the federal budget is divided into approximately 20 categories. There are budget functions, and they're organized federal spending into topics based on their purpose. You know, is it national defense, transportation, or is it health? And the government buys a ton of stuff. The government buys a variety of products and services to use to serve the public everywhere, from the military aircrafts, the big construction, highway maintenance, equipment buildings, livestock, research, education, training. Could be things as janitorial services, a lot of things the government buys. And here's the top 10 as broken down into. And first is Social Security. It's 22%, or represents 1.35 trillion. Health, 14%, 889 billion, and so on. You see, with Medicare, national defense, income security, our interest we pay to veterans, transportation, commercial housing, and community and regional development. Now, every year, the Small Business Administration They work with each agency to set their prime and subcontracting goals, and their performance is based on the agreed upon goals. So each federal agency has a different small business contracting goal determined annually, and they're in consultation with the SBA. Now, the big goal for a small contracting is that the big number you saw earlier at $6.134 trillion, their goal is to make sure within all the agencies combined, 23% of all federal contracting dollars are going to those. Here, yeah, 23%. And it's broken down, for women-owned small business, that 5% is targeted here. Now, small disadvantaged businesses, now within this number is all included in the 8A program. This 8A business development program through the SBA. It's a 9-year program. The first 4 years, you're looking at sole source, set aside contracts, and then 100%. Last 5 years, they're trying to wean you away from it there, trying to get you into a thing where you're building up that pipeline. So that pipeline is changed into a backlog of contracts. So that combined amount here is 12%. Then we have service disabled veteran-owned small business, represent 3% of that amount. And then finally, the small businesses that are in hub zone, that's another 3%. So all total here, we're looking at 23%. You can find these also. This is on the SBA site. They're saying, well, how well did they do? And this is pulling figures from fiscal year 2022. The fiscal year starts in October 1st, and it ends the following year in September 30th. So September 30th, we just closed on 2023, and now we're already in the fiscal year 2024. But if we look at this whole chart with prime contracting, if we're a small business, the goal is 23%. Overall, in 2022, it was higher, is 26.5%. So they went over here. The individual programs, women-owned small business, the target is at 5%, but almost made it. It was 4.57. The small disadvantaged businesses that has that 8A program, target was 11. We got 11.38. Service disabled veterans, 3%. Overshot that one, which is okay, is 4.57%. And then hub zone is 3%. And it was 2.65% was the actual. Now I pulled another one of these, and this is just the Department of Transportation. So, when the SBA goes out, it's having all these negotiations with each agency. And their small business goal was 34% overall. They hit 34.29. But a lot in the women-owned small business, the goal was 5%. They had 7.92%. Small disadvantaged, 20%. They had 21.33. And service disabled veterans is 3%. They had 3.88. And hub zone, 3% and 3.93. And like I say, you'll have access to this one. You can click on all of these and see how the individual agencies have done. Now, the big thing here is, evaluating your business. You want to see if you're ready for a federal government contract. Let me break it down. Are you what we call a pre-venture? You have an idea of what you want to do, but you haven't really taken steps to get going. You have a startup, you've been in business for less than a year, and then you've been in business and you've been in business over 1 year. Now, if you're in that pre-venture stage, during that one, you're planning your business. You got a great idea. Like you might be seeing that statistic there was $6.134 trillion, and 23% of that goes to small business. And you say, hey, I want to do that. But you have to have a business. You can't come and say, hey, I would like to get involved in this one. My first question will be is, what is your business? What is it that you do? And some answers I get, I'll do anything the federal government wants, but it just doesn't work that way. So you got to plan your business. You got to take that idea that you might have, what's your passion for the service that you do or the products you want to sell, and you want to make it turn it into a great business. You want to do some market research and competitive analysis. You want to write a business plan, calculate startup costs, establish business credit, fund your business. And if you have an opportunity, maybe you're buying an existing business or a franchise. Now, the startup business, this one, you're launching your business. You turn that business idea into a reality. You're making that LLC. You're getting your EIN number with the IRS. What's your location going to be? Are you going to have a business structure? What's the name of your business? Getting license and permits to do business. Open a business account. Sometimes get business assurance if it's applicable. Now, in this one too, once you get it going, you're saying, okay, well, now you got to manage it. You got to run your business, you got to master the day-to-day operations to prepare for that success. You're managing your finances, you're hiring, managing employees, paying taxes, stay legally compliant, buy assets and equipment. You're going to be getting an accounting system that's showing all these assets so you could see what's on your balance sheet, see what profits you're making on your income statement, profit and loss statement, and managing your cash flows. So you're trying to look at that. Managing the cash flows is really key. Now, the other one in business, over 1 year, you're going from managing the business that we had on the other slide there. And now you're looking and say, well, this has been going good. Maybe I want to grow. I want to do more. I want to get more funding. I want to get more locations, merge and acquire businesses. That might be part of it too. When you're making that business plan, you're with that, you have some financial projections. We have some templates on Excel where you're saying, okay, well, maybe year 3, I want to acquire a business. That might be part of it. Become a federal contractor, export products, women-owned businesses, native-owned, veteran-owned businesses, various ones. But you're saying what you have if you could win that government contract. You're doing that market research. And do you have that experience? The experience, it doesn't have to be from government contracting. It could be anything that you had in the commercial that's doing this. Saying, I'm going to be doing the same thing with government contracting. So you already have that experience here. But do you have the cash? Do you have the inventory? Do you have the working capital? Like say, some of these government contracts, if you win on them, sometimes you're hiring people like 10, 20 people, really quick here. And you're going to need to make sure you have the working capital to handle that until you're getting that first check coming in from the government. So, and do you have the capacity? Are you capable of fulfilling the government contract? So what makes a successful contractor? So the government, they prefer to work with established, reliable businesses. And so do you have a good track record of delivering quality goods and services on time within budget? And is your reputation good? Because not only could it take a long time to win your first government contract, but it could also take a significant amount of money. Now, some businesses, not all of them here, they're spending on a yearly 80,000 to 130,000 to earn that first contract. And it might not be a year, it might be their total amount till they win, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it's taken. So also, like I say, it could take up to 2 years to start making a return on your investment. So you need to have enough cash flows to sustain your business. So while you're maintaining a diverse list of private sector clients that could offset any potential initial losses. It's not saying that there will be losses, but it's a potential. And you also need to be e-commerce savvy. That's very important in government contracting. For example, if you want to work with the Department of Defense, you need to be able to invoice and receive payments electronically. So some basic requirements before you can compete for government contracts. So first, you want to get the proper registrations and ID numbers. Meet the size standards. Size standards that's coming with NAICS codes that represent your business. That's the North American Industrial Classification System. And there's various codes to see if I have a truck business, there's various codes. Do I have a janitorial business? There's various codes. And then you meet with your register on SAM.gov. That's a system of award management. And you maintain compliance. The federal government, you're complying with the federal acquisition regulation. We'll look at that in a bit. And also any cybersecurity requirements. So again, in order to do business with federal government, you need to be registered on SAM.gov, the System of Award Management. Now, there's no cost to use SAM.gov. Sometimes when you start registering, you'll get a lot of other companies that say, hey, I could help you with this. And some charge maybe $600,000, maybe more. But this is free. You don't need to do that. So you'll go to sam.gov and you'll hit this button right here in the green saying get started. Now when you do that, it'll take you to these 4 steps: about registration, set up a sam.gov account, prepare your data, and then just get started. You see right down here below, they have an entity registration checklist. Now you're going to want to download that and get all your information together before you start going through and registering online. So this one's saying, okay, well, I want to do all awards. Usually folks do. Sometimes just doing financial assistance awards. But on this one, you're going to have what's called a unique identity ID, a UEI. You put this through and you go through this whole setup, and at the end, you get this all together. You get your UEI number, you complete the registration. It'll go to DLA, and Logistic Agency. They'll take a look and give you what's called a CAGE code. That's a commercial and government entity number. Then after that, you'll be registered. You could start looking for contracts to win. Now, when you do this, when you're putting this in, I want to make sure you put in your physical address that you're doing your business at, not a virtual address somewhere. It has to be something tangible, it's physical. And then, of course, the CAGE code that I just mentioned here. Sometimes your entity might be based outside the USA. So no problem there. You'll just get what's called an N-cage code before starting your registration exam. There'll be various questions to answer here too. And one of them is when you come down to that financial information right there, you're saying, okay, accept credit cards as a method of payment. You might not have a credit card set up to take credit cards right now in your company, but it's a nice thing to have, especially when we're looking at government contracts. You're looking at government contracts under $10,000. That's a micro purchase. Contract officers can pay with a purchasing card, a credit card, basically. And so if you accept that, and then you don't check that box, when they're looking at, say, oh, they have this, I could use my credit card. It's great. But the federal government, okay, this uses what's called the FAR, the Federal Acquisition Regulations. And this came from the Code of Federal Regulations. That's the codification of the general and permanent regulations that are published in the Federal Register by the executive departments and agencies of the federal government of the United States. Now, this one is divided into 50 titles. And Title 14 is the Federal Acquisition Regulation. And you'll see Chapter 1 here is the Federal Acquisition Regulation. Chapter 2 is part of the system. This is with DOD. Chapter 3 is HHS. Chapter 4, Department of Agriculture. And so they all have their little different codes here in parts and sections. But when we want to look at the Federal Acquisition Regulations. Now, this one is broken down into let's see, B, C, D, E, F, G, H subchapters and various parts and subparts. You're going here, but this is how everything is working with the government, how they're working with you. They're going through this, and contract officers look at this constantly, everything, and because it changes also. Sometimes there's executive orders that change this as well. Now, to look at all these, you can go to a place called acquisition.gov, and you see over here is all the different FAR parts. So if I click on FAR Part 1, that talks about the system. Now, all this is put together because the government's interested in fair and reasonable price determinations to promote a healthy and efficient competitive sourcing environment. So you have the Federal Acquisition Streamlining Act, 1994, that established a precedent for the types of information used to assess price reasonableness. So fair and reasonable price determinations. They're used for evaluating quotations that you're given. Sometimes it's a request for quote, might be an invitation for a bid or a request for a proposal. And it's all going here. It's come to source selection committees in the government. So they're also used during sole source negotiations. Now, the policy of the United States is to contract for supplies and services at fair and reasonable prices. Now, the government might use various price analysis techniques, procedures to ensure a fair and reasonable price. For example, include, but not limited to, a comparison of proposed prices that you received in response to a solicitation. They're going to say, hey, everybody's pretty close in the ballpark. It seems to be fair and reasonable. And that's just one technique. but normally adequate price competition establishes a fair and reasonable price. So competition is at the heart of government contracting. More established businesses tend to be in a more competitive position and are more responsible. So that's what they're saying when we're looking at where's your business right now? Are you at the pre-venture stage? Are you at the startup under 1 year? Or have you been in business for a while there? That you had all your processes together, you had contracts together. So when you're putting forward a bid and the contract officer is looking at this, say, hey, well, this person has done this over and over and over. So I feel comfortable giving them a $50 million contract. So in addition to providing a fair and competitive price, the contractor, again, needs to be responsive and responsible. Now, responsive under FAR 14 for sealed bidding procedure, it refers to the contractor providing what the government asks for in a solicitation. So the solicitation calls for a component made of copper. However, the bidder offers one made of tin. The bid is considered non-responsive, and it won't get evaluated there. If the government requires delivery in 5 days, but the offer offers delivery in 30 days, again, the bid is likewise deemed non-responsive. Now, when you get these solicitations and you're looking at them, there's a period of time where you could send in some questions. Say you might be looking at the delivery schedule and you say 5 days is unreasonable, and you might get into a discussion on this way here. So to be considered responsible, you have to have an adequate financial resources to perform the contract or the ability to obtain them. You win this contract, you say, oh shoot, I'm out of money, I can't do it. And so it's pretty bad. And you want to make sure that you have those. So when you got this contract, you hit the ground running. So you want to be able to comply with the required or proposed delivery or performance schedule. You're taking into consideration all existing commercial and government business commitments. So no matter how many contracts you have going here, this is just another one on your plate now. So you have to have a satisfactory performance record. Usually when you're looking at this, there's a statement of work and solicitations telling exactly what they want done here. There is a piece for pricing, cost and pricing. There's a piece for past performance. They say they're going to look at some things. And if you're a government contractor, once you've done a contract, you get something called the CPARs. And that's just the contract officer said, hey, yeah, they did a great job, and I would use them again type of thing. So that's part of having a satisfactory record of integrity and business ethics. And also having the necessary organization, experience, accounting and operational controls, the technical skills, or the ability to get them. Having the accounting system, a job cost system, when you're looking at these things, having all your procedures together. Do you have to engineer processes or re-engineer your processes? Those things have changed as you got bigger. So you have to have necessary production, construction, technical equipment or facilities or the ability to attain them. Sometimes you'll see that in the solicitation that you'll have government provided equipment that you have to track and be, but most of the time you have to have that on your own. So be otherwise qualified and eligible to receive an award under applicable laws and regulations. So winning that federal contract as a new contractor can be challenging, but there are several steps that you could take to increase your chances of success. Now, one way increasing those chances of winning a government contract is by taking advantage of the resources at Small Business Administration. Now, they have various certifications. This one I'm showing right here is a woman-owned small business federal contracting program. And you go, you apply, you get that certification. That becomes something you're saying, okay, I'm a woman-owned business. I've been certified through the Small Business Administration. And you put that on your corporate capability statement. You put this other way. You might be a veteran own small business, or you might be in that 8A program that I was talking about. All these different things go. And the nice thing about it, you might have a contract that came out and the contract officer put it as only a set aside for women-owned small businesses. So other folks could have the same NAICS code, that North American Industrial Classification System code, but if they don't have that certification, they can't bid on it. Now, all federal government purchases between 10,000 and 250,000, that's a simplified acquisition threshold, are automatically set aside for small business, as long as there's at least two companies that could provide the product or the service at the fair and reasonable price. And anything below that 10 grand is the micro purchase threshold that we were talking about a little bit earlier, having that P card that they use here. And so you'll find out if we go back to acquisition.gov, the for the micro purchases, so the government-wide commercial purchase card shall be the preferred method to purchase and pay for micro purchases. So this is a nice way because there's not all these other rules that are coming with the FAR. You're saying, okay, I could bypass that and use my credit card here. So it's a nice bonus, and people made a lot of money if they're starting their small business. They're getting these things, and it doesn't matter what it is. Like say, I think just in 250,000 and lower, there's $20 billion in that area that was spent. Now, the purchase guidelines for this micro purchases, they may be awarded without soliciting competitive quotations. So if the contracting officer or individual appointed in accordance with 1.603 considers the price to be reasonable, they could just go ahead and buy it. They say the administrative cost of verifying that reasonableness of the price may more than offset the potential savings. So when they get this and say, hey, I see this, it's under $10,000, I deem it fair and reasonable, they buy it directly from you without a competitive bid. Now, the benefits from small contracts under 250,000. One, you see, you get faster turnaround because you don't have to go through all the say, hey, I'm putting out a solicitation, I'm taking all these bids, I'm going through this. So there's a lot less paperwork involved here. And also, you're building relationships with the federal agency. They get to know you. They say, hey, okay, I've bought from this company before. I know them. I trust them. Comes in again. So you build that relationship more and more and more. And also, you're building relationship with other contractors. And other contractors, there might be some subcontract opportunities, in the future for that. Now, there's items as you come through here when you get on SAM.gov. Sometimes contract officers looking for information. They're doing their marketing research. What can we do? So there's certain benefits of responding to sources sought or requests for information. So on this one, you could influence the solicitation. You see what's on there and you can make recommendations. Plus, the buyer gets to know your capabilities and limit the competition. It's going to be a set aside or sole source. And by this, it goes to competition, say, hey, well, I see what you want here. To do this, you need this special pen, for example. Nobody else has this. And so it kind of weakens the company's position here. So if there's at least two businesses that can do the work for a fair price, the contract should be set aside exclusively for small businesses to compete. So that's why you're looking at those sources sought. They're not a solicitation at this point, but they're contract officers looking out there and say, hey, well, we could do this. So if there are fewer than two, the contract officer may be authorized to create a sole source contract. Otherwise, you may offer it for full and open competition. That means everybody could take it. The big companies, small company, everybody, full and open competition. So again, when you respond to a source's sought, you influence the scope by making recommendations, pointing out your strengths and your competitors' weaknesses. Now I'm going to, you can find these on sam.gov. I'll go back there, and when I do a search, here I'll say, okay, well, I want to come here and do contract opportunities. Okay, and then you scroll down a little bit, and you say, okay, well, I want to do it. I want to target the Department of Defense. And give me response dates that are due in the next 3 months. Otherwise, they'll give you everything that's happening there. And do it just for sources sought. Because that's our goal at this point here. Okay, so when I did this is the first one with that criteria. It came up with 518. And the first one here, I picked on this was Motorola radio programming, parts purchases, and install for command vehicles. And they give the notice number. And so you click on that, and you can say, okay, it breaks it down. It'll show you the notice, who it's from, Department of Defense, the sub-tier. This is coming from the Air Force in the Pacific Fleet. And if you look over the general information, we see its sources sought, and the timing of this and when it's due, classification, see it's the total small business set aside, and it gives a product service code. When you're doing your SAM.gov registration, you, in addition to the NAICS code, you could break it out further and put product service codes. This one, for example, is 5820, radio and developed communication equipment, except airborne. Now, the NAICS code on this was 334220, radio and development broadcasting and wireless communication equipment manufacturing. And the place of performance is in Guam. Now, go down to the bottom of this, continue, and you see the attachment. The attachment is the source sought. And you look at this one, and you'll see that it'll come out and boldly tell you it's the source is sought. It's for the Henderson Air Force Base in Guam. And so it says, this is a market research sources sought notice seeking information only. This source sought announcement only seeking responses in order to determine participation in this acquisition. I tell you, this is not a solicitation, a request for proposal, and it's not going to come an award and don't restrict the government to a particular acquisition approach. It's just something we're putting out here. We want to see what kind of folks, what kind of companies are out there that can do this work. So we see the contractor shall provide all tools, parts, equipment, material, uh, or Motorola APX 8500 radio and assemblies. I don't know what that is, but the contracting world is all the same. But you're going to be working with folks making that technical write-up here that know exactly what that is. Okay. So in Command Vehicle 1, they say remove the following equipment, program the APX 8500, and provide the parts listed below. And so you see all the different parts here. Here's some extra ones. And the vendor will install the Anderson Air Force Base fire provided mobile radio with all of the good stuff that it needs here. And then it said there was 2 vehicles on this one. And this one was doing the same thing, taking off the old parts and replacing them with all this new good stuff here. So again, they come out here and say the source of thought is issued solely for information planning purposes, not a request for proposal. So it's just reiterating that. But what it's looking at, it says, please carefully review the attachments and respond accordingly to the directions stated below. So documentation of technical expertise and capability must be presented in sufficient detail for the government to determine that your company possesses the necessary functional area of expertise, certification, authorization, and experience to compete for this acquisition. So they're giving you exactly what you're going to do. And you could just put it, you're saying, okay, please include the following with your response: name of the company, the primary point of contact, the organization affiliation, email address, phone number. But it said, do not include the following in the response. It said, do not submit a formal proposal offers. Do not submit requests to be considered for awards or something else in the future. And so it says, just be very specific and don't respond by telephone. They're saying, okay, just respond to, you're going to submit these to Nathan Intilia, contract specialist, and gives his email, and Tommy Titano. And so they have this. So please include sources sought, Motorola radio command vehicle in the subject line. And then they tell you the source sought is closed November 22, 2023. So again, they give the point of contact. So you're looking at these things and just applying. Once you get one put together, a letter or format that you're going to put it in, that could be a template that you tweak a little bit by answering other sources sought. And hopefully by doing this, it might be that they turn this into a set-aside contract, or it might be a sole source contract. So when you're looking for contracts, there's a number of databases that you could use to find federal contracts to bid on. And we look at similarly, there are multiple databases that the government agency uses to find contractors. Now, one thing to note here, the government agencies are required to use SAM to advertise all contracts over 25,000. So under 25,000, it says, hey, you're going to maybe go to the different places, different agencies to look this up too. You could also go to Dynamic Small Business Search. That's a database that the government agency uses to find small business contractors for upcoming bids. When you fill in your sam.gov, it's going to populate that as well. Small businesses can use this to find other small businesses to work with. And maybe you might find some contracts that hey, well, let's team up in the future here. Subcontracting opportunities. There's something called subnet, database of subcontract opportunities posted by large contractors looking for small businesses to serve as subcontractors. When the big contractors get these huge contracts, part of their bid, they have to have a small business contracting plan. They have to have the government, they're required to help the government reach that 23% that's going to small businesses. And this one here, I just looked at Subnet and just for tailored it to South Carolina, and you could see the solicitation. Now, subcontracting opportunities, the SBA maintains a directory of federal government prime contractors with their subcontracting plans. The General Service Administration publishes a subcontracting directory for small businesses as well. Directly lists the large business prime contractors that are required to establish, like I said, their plans and goals with subcontracting with small businesses. U.S. Department of Defense maintains similar directory or large prime contractors for this. And when you're looking at these different agencies, you want to find the small business office. You'll have a small business advocate in those, in every one of those. If you have some questions, say, I want to help you out, find some upcoming solicitations, they can help. You have the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization. And also on acquisition.gov, here's the agency's recurring procurement forecast. You come here and click on each one of these that you want. I just list them all. And then I picked one with the U.S. Department of Urban Development. And so it gave me the forecast of contracting opportunities for products and services. And then within their office as small business, you have the liaison. Any one of these folks, can help out if you have some questions. When you're looking at this, you can see that these are things that are up and coming. Like just saying this first one, fiscal year 2024. It's a recompete. It's under NAICS code 517121, and it's a sole source in the 8A program. The value is $5 million to $10 million. And this solicitation is coming out in July of 2024. And the award month is going to be September 2024. And this is a base year and 4 option years. And that's usually what the contracts are, and they're come for a base year and 4 option year. So if you wanted to get on that one, it's coming out as a 8A program. The one below that is a full and open competition. Anybody's able to do this. Scroll down a little bit here. Here's one for court reporting services, a small business, $100,000 to $200,000. And then I just list a few of them they can look at here. And I pulled one and went to the U.S. Department of Transportation. You'll see some here. I just put the fiscal year for 2024. You see under this agency is small business set aside. Estimated value is $2 million to $5 million for construction. And it's in the first quarter of fiscal year 2024. So the first quarter, of course, we got October, November, December, as the fiscal year goes from October 1st to September 30th the next year. So we look at these, say, okay, this one just happened to be Eastern Federal Lands Highway Division. And as for construction, it's just telling a little bit more about the opportunity. And telling the description here consists of the rehabilitation of Lynn Housing Access Road within the Virgin Islands National Park in St. John. And so there's various one of these. And also included a bunch of helpful sites that you might want to look at too. This one is sam.gov. This one's for the Code of Federal Regulation. This is acquisition.gov. This is with the Treasury and the SBA. Now this one right here is Learn SBA Gov Dashboard. It'll take you to some different classes. They'll help you out here. There's also the one below is usaspending.gov. You know, that one you can see what the federal government has spent on, in past years. And it's a nice way of saying, well, wait, somebody still has this contract, and it'll tell you who's on there, and you could write to that person, give them your corporate capability statement, say, I see you won this contract, I do the same type of work. I was just wondering if there's a possibility that we could do something together in the future. You know, it's just a name going over and over and over and over. And then these various ones are subcontracting directories. And then finally, if we could help you out here, I just have my contact information. And as well, if you sign up for county search, just go to that www.charlestonsbdc.com and sign up for services, and we can go forward.